Hey there, friends. Let me ask you a question that might make you pause for a moment. Are you spending your time on what truly matters? It's a thought provoking query that we'll be diving into today. Welcome back to my channel where we explore all things productivity and success. Today, we're going to talk about the critical role that prioritization plays in achieving our goals and the significant impact it can have on our lives. Let's face it, we've all been there, feeling swamped with tasks but unaware where to direct our focus and energy. You find yourself running around putting out fires all day, or busy but you don't feel like your work has a high impact. You have long term goals but no time or energy to make progress on them. And you have a hard time delegating or saying no. It's a common struggle in today's fast paced world where distractions are many and demands never seem to end. So, what is the root cause of this problem and how can we overcome it? One of the reasons, in my view, why we struggle with prioritization is that we often confuse urgency with importance. We tend to focus on tasks that are urgent, meaning they have a short deadline or require immediate attention. But these tasks are not necessarily important. This can lead us to waste time and energy on things that don't really matter in the long run, while we neglect the ones that actually do. To avoid this trap, we need to learn how to distinguish between urgent and important tasks and then prioritize them accordingly. One way to distinguish between urgent and important tasks is to use the Eisenhower matrix. This is a simple tool that helps you to categorize your tasks into 4 quadrants based on their urgency and importance. I'm going to show you how. As you can see, in quadrant 1, we have tasks that are urgent and important. These are things with a clear deadline, things that you have to do. They just must be done. Examples I can think of, this is going to depend on you as an individual or as a company, depending on your goals and your visions. So it can be finishing a client's project or finishing a draft article or picking up your sick kid from school. It has to be done. So in the second quadrant, we have not urgent but important. So these are tasks that have a high impact on your goals but don't have pressing deadlines, like planning, learning, or relationship building. You can schedule these tasks for a later date and dedicate time enough and energy to them. In quadrant 3, we have urgent but not important. So with these tasks, they have a low impact on your goals but require immediate attention. So examples can be those interruptions, meetings, or emails. You can delegate these tasks because they do not require your specific skills. You can get somebody else to do them for you, or you can minimize the time you spend on them. Then the last quadrant is not urgent and not important. These are the time wasters. These tasks have a low impact on your goals and don't have any pressing deadlines. Examples are just distractions, entertainment, social media. These are things you should eliminate as much as possible, or you can do them only when you have time. So when you use the Eisenhower matrix, you can prioritize your tasks more effectively and you can focus on the ones that matter the most. You can also avoid procrastination, stress, and overload by managing your time and energy better. So to apply the matrix, you can start by listing all tasks and assigning them to one of the 4 quadrants. Then you can review your list and decide what to do, schedule, delegate, or eliminate. You can also revisit your list regularly and adjust it as needed. So when you do this, you can overcome the problem of confusing urgency with importance, you eliminate time wasters in your life, and you create more mental space to make progress on your goals more effectively and efficiently. The next thing that I want to talk about is something called the 80-20 rule. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. I'll just give you a little background, then we can go into how it can help you prioritize your tasks and save time. So, the 80-20 rule is also known as the Pareto principle. It's named after an Italian economist. His name was Vilfredo Pareto. He observed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by only 20% of the population. He later found that this pattern of unequal distribution actually applied to many other areas of our lives. These include wealth, health, and productivity. The 80-20 rule states that there is an inherent imbalance between inputs and outputs, causes and effects, efforts and results. So, in other words, a small number of factors, which is the 20%, account for a large proportion of outcomes, which is the 80%. How can we use this principle to prioritize our tasks more effectively? So, to prioritize our tasks more effectively using this principle, you will have to combine the 4 quadrants that we spoke about earlier with this Pareto principle. So, in order to do that, you'll need to use the 80-20 rule to identify and prioritize the 20% of tasks that fall into quadrant 1. Remember, quadrant 1 has the urgent and important, and you also do the same with quadrant 2, which has the not urgent but important. Here we're just trying to identify the 20% of tasks that fall into these 2 quadrants. So these are the tasks that have a high impact on your goals, and they require your attention and energy. So when you focus on these tasks, you can achieve 80% of your results with only 20% of your effort. You can also use the 80-20 rule to reduce or eliminate that 80% of tasks that falls into the quadrant 3 and 4. Quadrant 3 is the one that has urgent but not important, and quadrant 4 has not urgent and not important. These are tasks that have a low impact on your goals, and they distract you from your priorities. So by avoiding or delegating these tasks, you can save 80% of your time and energy for the 20% of tasks that matter the most. So when you combine the Eisenhower matrix and the Pareto principle, you optimize your productivity and performance, and you achieve more with less. Well, of course, not all tasks are equally important or urgent, and sometimes it can be hard to distinguish between them. That's why it's helpful to use a tool like the Eisenhower matrix to sort out our priorities and make better decisions. By applying the 80-20 rule and the Eisenhower matrix together, we can create a powerful system for prioritizing our tasks and achieving our goals more effectively and efficiently. I want to share with you a personal story that truly exemplifies the power of prioritization in achieving success. So last year, I set out to launch a new project, and by ruthlessly prioritizing my tasks and staying laser focused on what truly mattered, I not only met but I exceeded my expectations. You can do the same. Let me just give you 2 more examples of how prioritization can help you achieve your goals. Let's say you want to start a blog, but you have limited time and resources. So instead of trying to write about everything, you can prioritize the topics that are most relevant to your niche and audience, and then you create high quality content that will attract and engage them. So when you do this, you can build a loyal fan base, and you can grow your online presence faster than if you try to cover too many topics at once. Another example can be, let's say you want to learn a new skill, and then you have a lot of other commitments and distractions. Instead of trying to master everything at once, you can prioritize the skills that are most useful and relevant to your goals. And then you focus on learning them one at a time. And also, when you do this, you can achieve a deeper level of understanding and proficiency, and you apply what you learn more effectively. These are just some examples of how prioritization can help you achieve your goals. But the key here is to identify what truly matters to you, and then you focus your time and energy on those things. By doing this, you can make the most of your resources and opportunities, and you accomplish more with less. So, to wrap things up, let's recap what we've discussed today. Prioritization is not just about getting more done, it's about getting the right things done. By focusing on what truly matters, we can make significant strides towards our goals and lead a more fulfilling life. You know, I always love to end with some scripture. I have 3 verses that I'm going to share with you today. The first one is Ephesians 5, verses 15 to 16. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise but as wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. This verse warns us to be careful and wise in how we live and to make the most of every opportunity because the world is full of evil and temptation. Proverbs 16 verse 9 says, "The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." This verse reminds us that we can make our own plans, but ultimately, God is in control of our lives, and we should trust Him to guide us and direct us. My last verse for today is James 4, verses 13 to 15, and it reads, "Come now, you who say, 'Tomorrow we'll go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit,' yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, 'If the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that.'" This verse teaches us to be humble and dependent on God, and not to boast or presume about our future plans, because our life is short and uncertain, and only God knows what will happen. These are just some of the verses that can help us prioritize our time and do the right things at the right time according to God's will. I hope they inspire you and motivate you to live with wisdom and purpose. Now, I would love to hear from you. Share your own prioritization tips in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos on productivity and success. Remember, success is not just about doing more. It's about doing what really matters. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.
Honestly,